Good afternoon, everyone. This is a video about the Princeps Machiavelli card game, which is about it's basically a political military struggle in Renaissance world. But really, it's more of a game where, as I was soloing it, I made this map that will come with the game when you purchase your own copy. But the thing, if you want a copy of it, but the thing about the game, it's more or less a territory game where every player is going to get 3 territory cards, which an adjacency between the cards is shown by the coat of arms. So basically, if you're in a territory, you can basically move from one territory to another as long as there's a matching coat of arms. And basically, it's a battle game. It's one of those secret unit deployment games where people put their cards out and then they put cards face down. They're going to put cards, like here's an example. They're going to put cards face down and then they're going to take turns, starting with the first player, resolving their actions. And with respect to battling, it's more like all the cards in the game more or less are about the idea of battling, except that the modifiers are based on the unique characteristics of the territories and also the individuals that are actually battling. For example, just to show the modifiers really fast. Like in this example, there are different, there's like Popular Principality is one of the cards. It says it gets +1 defense against revolts. So if a revolt card is played against it, there is a +1 modifier for that. Basically, it has a +1 defense if a revolt card is played against this character. Noble Principality, it receives an extra Citizens Army card. So it receives an extra Citizens Army card. Hereditary Principality, and it says something like +1 defense against conspiracies. Once again, a conspiracy card. Basically, all of these cards serve for battle purposes, for modifiers depending on what territory you're in. Like, to give an example, it says here this is a noble territory, and it says +1 conspiracy, meaning that if a conspiracy card is played against this territory, the conspiracy card has an even greater strength of +1 against it. And as another example, this is a free territory, and it says free territory revolt +1, meaning that if you play a revolt card, if you play, like for example, if you were to play a revolt card against that territory, a free territory, it would have an additional +1 attack value against it. And then there are certain things that you play secretly into cards, you can play, like example, if you have a fort card in your hand and you want to play it in one of your territories, you can give a +1 defense against armies and against attacks. And then there's a Citizens Army card. Now, the interesting thing about the game is that all battles are really all of the exact same nature. It's just that the modifiers for the attack and the defense are based on the characters themselves that are doing the attacks, and the territories themselves have certain modifiers basically for attacks. So, once again, like I just said, noble cards are more susceptible against conspiracy cards. They get a +1 modifier. But you'll also have to fight, but then again, if you're actually using these cards, you can also defend against conspiracies and revolts, once again, with your armies. It's all just basically like a scalar value. Everything is for attack. All battles are basically of the same nature. It's just that the territories themselves give the modifiers. And the actual characters that you're using give modifiers. Also, when you can't actually have an army. You can only have one army give attacks unless you have a counselor. Unless you have actually a captain. You can't have military attacks. Basically, if you have, how do I say that? If you unless you have a captain or a prince in a territory, basically a prince. If you have your princes in a territory, you can pretty much do every kind of attack. Like if you have your principality card, you can do both political and military actions. Otherwise, you can only have one army card in an area or to attack unless you have a captain card, which is pretty much like a proxy for your prince. And then you can't use political cards unless you have a counselor. But in all cases, your own leader, your prince, will actually have that ability. I'm going to do another video actually going over the actual gameplay using like the samples in another video, but that's just pretty much how it works. And once again, the actual map that I've included here doesn't really come with the game, but it actually is a handy way of seeing the actual coat of arms that are in these cards. Sorry for this video if it's a little long-winded. I'm pretty a little under the weather today, so I'm gonna get a glass of water and do some more videos here pretty soon here. Thanks guys for watching this video.